Now in the early 2000s, Rugrats was the undisputed king of Nick-toons. It had 3 movies, a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, and a decade of dominance. But for the 10th anniversary, the creators of the show did something radical. They didn't just give us another adventure, they gave us a time machine. The special All Grown Up was supposed to be a one-off what-if scenario. Instead, it became the highest rated broadcast in Nickelodeon history, pulling in over 12 million viewers. It wasn't just a win, it was a mandate. Fans didn't just want the babies forever, they want to see them grow. So today we are deep diving into what made All Grown Up so memorable. The lasting impact, the development, and everything about this show. Let's see if you guys remember All Grown Up. So make sure before we dive on into it guys, make sure to hit that like button down below, subscribe if you have not, and join the Discord to stay in touch with everything on my channels. And if you want to catch up with all the blasts for the past episodes, the link is in the description down below. But with that all the way guys, let's dive on into it. Now, I just want to highlight that theme song. It was one of my favorites growing up. It was actually performed by Cree Summer. She is the voice of Susie Carmichael and does an excellent job singing that intro. Now, turning toddlers into preteens sounds easy, but the development process was a minefield. The creators Arlene Klasky and Garbo Kupsko had to figure out how to keep the spirit of the baby show in a world of lockers and crushes. Now they moved away from the lumpy aesthetic of the 90s to a sleeker, more teen magazine look. The characters needed to be recognizable but distinct. Now on July 21st, 2001, Nickelodeon aired a special called All Grown Up. It was meant to be a 10th anniversary thank you to the fans. But when the ratings came in, the executives and Nick didn't just see success, they saw a goldmine. 12 million people tuned into that special. To put that in perspective, that's 70% of every kid in America between the ages of 2 and 11. It wasn't just a hit, it was Nickelodeon's equivalent of the Super Bowl. Now the message obviously was loud and clear. We don't just want to see the babies, we want to see who they become. But turning the world's most famous toddlers into teenagers was a massive creative risk. Now All Grown Up didn't just exist along the original show. It effectively killed it. According to production history, Nickelodeon was so obsessed with the success of the anniversary special that they forced the creators of the show to stop production on the main Rugrats series, and wanted them just to focus all their efforts on the spin-off. By 2002, the original Rugrats was being outperformed by newcomers like SpongeBob and Jimmy Neutron, so Nick saw All Grown Up as a way to rebrand their aging mascot for a more modern look. Now, an interview with the team behind the show admitted that translating the lumpy heads of the babies into teens was a nightmare. Tommy's head shape specifically didn't look right when he was taller. They went through months of sculpting the designs to make sure they looked like the same kids, but with more of an adult look. They wanted to also keep that 90s aesthetic with them. Now, one of the most impressive parts of the show was of course the voice acting. Now, shortly before All Grown Up began, the original voice of Chucky, Christine Cavanaugh, retired from voice acting. This led to Nancy Cartwright, the voice of Bart Simpson, taking over. And this is why you hear Chucky in this show being a little bit more raspy. She had to find a way to make Chucky sound like he was hitting puberty while keeping his signature anxiety tremor. And even E.G. Daily, who voices Tommy, she said in an interview they basically had to relearn their characters after a decade of playing them as infants. They had to transition from that toddler voice to more of an adult, deeper voice, going through puberty. Now, the show's biggest strength was how it involved the characters' core traits into teen hobbies. Tommy, for example, became a filmmaker. The screwdriver was gone and replaced by a camcorder. This was a stroke of genius. Tommy was always the one documenting their adventures, and now he loves directing them. There's also Angelica, who I feel was a big spot in this show. In All Grown Up, Angelica isn't just a bully. She's a girl struggling with her own popularity and the pressure of her mother. We see a softer side of her, especially in her relationship with Susie, which turned into a rivalry into a genuine complex friendship. And Dill, the youngest of the group and the one who barely had any lines as a toddler. Dill was the wild card. Since he didn't speak much in the original, the writers turned him into something like a weird kid. He wore alien hats and had this eccentric theories, serving as one of the show's comedic anchors, while the other kids dealt with the heavier stuff like dating and school dances. Now, All Grown Up wasn't just a show, it was a blueprint. It proved that aging up a franchise actually worked. Now, the series premiered in November of 2003 and was Nick's highest rated premiere ever at that time. With 5.2 million total viewers, it outperformed even Jimmy Neutron. Now, a show would be nothing without its merchandise. Before, Rugrats was only targeted towards babies. Now they could sell all grown up apparel and school supplies for preteens and even teenagers. This extended the life of the brand for another 5 years. Now, of course, critics often pointed out by losing the imagination of the original, the show lost its soul and became a standard teen sitcom. Now, this was always a central debate of the show's legacy. Was it a brilliant evolution or a corporate sanitization just to be a cash grab? Now, the show ran for 5 seasons and 55 episodes, ending in 2008, and interestingly enough, when the 2021 CGI reboot arrived, it went straight back to the babies, effectively erasing the All Grown Up timeline. Now, this was the only time we got to see a cartoon family truly grow up. It wasn't perfect, and was it born out of a little corporate greed? A little bit, but it gave us closure. We saw that no matter how old they got, a baby's gotta do what a baby's gotta do. And even if the baby is now 13 years old with a cell phone, we got to see what their challenges were and how they grew up. Now, I really enjoyed All Grown Up. I've rewatched it a couple times. I just enjoyed it for what it was. I always loved the characters. Yeah, it wasn't a perfect show, but it gave me more time with the characters. It allowed me to see what the challenges they faced and how they dealt with it. And sometimes I would relate on how they would react to things. Because hey, we were all teenagers at one point, or we're all going to become that at a certain age. It's good to see how others develop, how they learn, and how they deal with things. I think even though this show was used for its ratings, I still love that they went through with the show and had a good run. But let me know in the comments down below, do you prefer the teen version of this show? If so, which character was your favorite? Or are you just okay with seeing them as babies? But thank you guys so much for tuning into this deep dive of this wonderful show. And make sure you guys head over to my other blasts from the past episodes that we talk about amazing great shows there. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and join the Discord to stay updated with everything on my channels. Thank you guys so much, and I hope to see you guys in the next one.